All right, folks, welcome back. We're going to be going over something that's pretty critical because a lot of people know how to enter, meaning they know what PD arrays enter off of, when to enter, what time. They know, but they just don't know what PD array to select. They just simply don't know. So we're going to be going over two things in one video, which is array selection. But the two things we're going to be going over is array selection through PD array matrix and array scavenging, which is searching for PD arrays within certain times, before certain times, to minimize risk. Very, very simple, right? So let's start from this week here that I'm currently looking at, the week of March 16th. So I don't really got to mark it, but let me turn on the kill zones. So let's go ahead and ignore that day. Honestly, we can ignore that. We're not even gonna look at that. Let's look at Wednesday here. This week was kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie. It looks like a good week, but if you were trading this like live, you would see how just retarded it is. Now, array selection, okay, do you know the PD array matrix? If you don't know, go learn it, or I can just teach you it right now. The PD array matrix is basically a kind of like a leveling chart that shows you the significance of each PD array, starting from most significant to least significant, mitigation block, liquidity void, breaker block, fair value gap, order block, rejection block, and volume imbalance. So the mitigation block is the strongest. The volume imbalance is the least strongest, or it has the least significance. Very, very simple, right? Now, understanding that, you're probably like, which PD arrays would I want to enter off of then? Obviously, the mitigation block, breaker, and the ones up there. Liquidity void, I wouldn't really say enter off that. It's mainly a confluence based what's the word? Confluence based array because they're so large. You wouldn't trade like let's say for example, because this is a liquidity void right here. That is a liquidity void. You wouldn't sit here and enter off of a 300 point array. You're just not going to do that unless you're a string. That's a string. Unless you're a swing trader, then yeah, you can do that. Like if you trade the 30-minute, 1 hour, or even 4 hour time frames, yeah, you can do that. But liquidity void, no, definitely not for lower time frame trading, like 5 minute, 3 minute, 1 minute. No, definitely not for that because it's abnormal for them to form on those time frames. So where is that day at? Okay, here we go. Now let's look here. You know what? I can't even show you any examples on this week because that week was just so horrendously bad. Let me go to a different week. Hold on. Let me go to something else that was at least a little better than that. I guess we can do this week. This was fine. So what is that? Second? Let me go to the second. Let's go 5 minute. Go to the 2nd of March. Okay, here we go. All right. Now, actually, I think I just went over this in the non-farm payroll video. Well, I'm gonna turn that into a live lecture, but that's basically gonna be like the prequel before the actual live lecture of going deeper in depth of actual, price action that's being shown live. Anyway, array selection first, which is selecting arrays through the PDA matrix to have more of a significant entry in more respectable entry. So just using mitigation blocks, the strongest array, obviously, we're going to see how much it gets respected and how much price really delivers off of it. First of all, if you don't know what any of these PD arrays are, go refer to the Array Archive series. You want to know what that is? I'm going to go show you. Hold on. We go right here and go to Playlist. Right here, the Array Archive series. A series, it says right there, but a series providing you a critical understanding of all PD arrays. Go watch that right there. Want to go see the videos that's in it? Here, I'll show you. Has everything you need. Everything. So if you don't know any of these PD arrays, go here first. Going back to the chart, the mitigation block would be this right here. Now, you're probably like, why would we enter all the way up here? I'm just simply showing you to take the stronger PD arrays than the weaker PD arrays. That's it. That's basically all I'm showing you. But if we go to the 1 minute, then obviously we're going to see a lower entry down here with the mitigation block that formed within this candle. But what I'm trying to basically highlight here is take stronger PD arrays for your entries because it's just better for you. It's just they'll hold better. They're like I said, more significant, and they're just better to be respected instead of using a volume imbalance as an entry. You could use a volume imbalance because, like I said, if a volume imbalance gets respected, that's stronger than a mitigation block. But just in general, it's definitely the weakest. But whenever you see a volume imbalance get respected, just know that that's probably the strongest confluence you can have in the world. Other, other than an immediate rebalance. That's the only two that's really, really strong. But an immediate rebalance is not a PD array. Anyway, looking at that mitigation block, as you can see, jumped up above this high, activating it, drop back down, reaching into it, respecting it, and jumping higher. In which after that, it created another mitigation block, hitting it. Oh, if I can get it, hit it once, twice, and create another one, hit it. And as you can see, it is not disrespecting any of them, except for, the one that was created right after. But after that, that's just too many mitigation blocks. They get a little too minuscule. But you get the point. You can see that the most significant array is being respected pretty often. Now, of course, it's not going to, um, what's the word, expand off of it due to the 600-point expansion we had overnight with Asia and London, and the 200-point expansion we had within 5 minutes. I don't know. This is non-farm payroll week, so this is, like I said, pretty normal. Anyway, let's go to the next day, which is over here. Now let's compare PD rates. Okay, let's actually compare some. Looking at, let's say I'm going to try to find a breaker and a fair value gap. Let's see if I can find one. Okay, now okay, let's just use this for an example. We got this bearish fair value gap here. This is, what is it? The fourth most significant PD array, or the, well, you get what I'm saying. The fourth most significant PD array. Very, very simple, right? Clearly, we can see that gets totally disrespected, right? Totally disrespected. But the second most significant PD array is what? The breaker block, in which the breaker block is right there. That right there is your breaker block. If we drag that out, you can see that price hits it. If I can, get my line, hits it 1, 2, 3, 4, jumps up higher. You get my point? I don't think this is like really, I don't think I need to explain this, but it's simply just understanding that using stronger PD arrays is better. That's all I have to say. Now, moving on to the main thing, array scavenging. Primarily, array scavenging occurs during the first 30 minutes of 9:30, which is, the 9:30 opening range. So we're going to go to recent price action, like today's price action, and go to the 1 minute and zoom in here. So let's say, for example, you wanted to okay, now this was bound to kind of like do some weird stuff. Not gonna lie, it was bound to retrace. So the first 30-minute rule was kind of out of the question because we were in a price delivery cycle here. We consolidated during Asia, dropped lower, in which the thing we needed to do afterwards before we were went lower was retrace so we can actually continue the price delivery cycle lower. So there was nothing you could have did here because price wasn't ready to deliver after the first 30 minutes. It had to do some other things first. So let me see here. You could say before 11:30, not even using time in this situation because the first 30-minute factor is out of the question, like I said. But if you still want to incorporate time, sure, you can incorporate time. Since we had a lot of preparation during AM and not a lot of expansion, like actually, reaching lower into that low that's all the way over here, yeah, down there. Since we had a lot of preparation before actually delivering, you could say that 11:30 is the next time that price could potentially expand and reach that low that I just, acknowledged to the left side. So you could look for PD arrays, stronger PD arrays, and smaller PD arrays before this time to enter off of. You're probably like, what? Yeah, you can do that. So let's say up here, right, we have this intermediate term swing. If I can like pull it down just a little bit so you can actually see the name of it. Intermediate term swing, boom, right there, right? In which you have failure swing, failure swing, failure swing, or basically a bunch of lack of displacement after, respecting this intermediate term swing. So clearly, price wants to go lower. There's a couple things here. Just a couple things. One is this mitigation block right there. That's mitigation block. But its stop loss is huge. This is what I mean by array scavenging, searching for arrays to enter off of. But the only reason you're doing it is to expect respect, to do it before a specific time. So when price is ready to deliver, it'll respect the PD array and, so you can get a smaller stop loss. But look at this stop loss here. Hold on, let me just, hold on. If I can, I don't think it's doing it. Wait, hold on. There you go. That's a 50-point stop loss. That's absurd. Well, no, not 50 points. Hold on. 60 points. My bad. A 60-point stop loss. That is absurd. You would not want to enter off that. Definitely not. Because that's where your stop loss would go. It'll go directly above that high since it broke the candle that possesses the mitigation block. So we're going to look for another array. Well, what array is that, JJ? There is a redelivered rebalance right here in which you don't know that yet. No one knows it except the ones that I've actually taught it to directly inside of the Discord server, in which only like 2-3 people know about it. So what other PD arrays we have, JJ? Well, we have another mitigation block right there. Another one in which price, it hits it, respects it, but what's the stop loss on it? Let's see. 34 points. Me personally, I would take it, but I would just, what's the word? Scale down on the amount that I use. Like I might enter maybe 8 micros here, 8, 7. Then I'll add like the other 8, because I think I go about like 15 micros per entry or like per scale in. So obviously with a 30-point stop loss, I would definitely not be using, um, basically just scale down when it's a little over 30 points. When I say 30 around that area, 30, 20 is when you should definitely scale down when it comes to your, what's the word? Your risk and how much you use. But this is the 1 minute. So obviously the arrays are going to be a little bigger. But if you're on the 15-second, the average point range for the PD arrays are probably going to be like 10, 20 points. But even still, if it goes above 20, make sure to lower the amount you use. So it hits that PD array once, twice. Well, does it hit it there? I'm not too sure. No, it does not. But it hits it once. That's where you can enter. It drops lower, in which you still have your entry in, and your stop is still above here, still above there. It never gets hit. Never gets hit. So you're still in. You're still in on your position. Let me just put a sell position here. Hold on. So you're still in. Like so, like that. Let me just drag it above it so it won't say you stopped. So it won't say you stopped it out. All right, now that was a little stutter step I had just then. But me personally, I missed the trade because I forgot what I was doing. I think I was playing Roblox or on the phone with my admin. We're good buddies. I'm on the phone with bro all the time. But I was expecting price to disrespect this liquidity void and drop down to that low there, in which I missed the whole trade. I cannot believe I missed this, bro. Not gonna lie, I missed the whole thing. I was like, bro. Because I look back and I'm like, dog. And look at that. That's a 10 risk to reward. I don't really care about the risk to reward. I just care about making the money. People that sit here and flex risk to rewards, I'm not gonna lie. No disrespect to the people in my Discord, because there's some people that flex risk to rewards, but risk to rewards is like kind of stupid. Just make sure you don't lose too much and make sure you gain more. That's really it. Oh, aim for a 4 risk to reward? No, no. Just make sure you're making more than you're risking. That's it. Just make sure you do not risk too much to where it'll put you in danger. That's it. Anyway, that's their trade right there. So you've successfully array scavenged before a specific time in which price may expand. The time factor, that's mainly where, how can I explain this? The time factor is very, very important, because if you don't have any time, you won't know when price will expand. But if you don't know when price will expand, you don't know if it's going to retrace or not. So you have to have that specific time after identifying that price has prepared, manipulated, and done everything it needs to do first. You have to find that time, in which this case it's 11:30. You have to find that time in which price is ready to expand so you can enter right before it. Preferably, you want to enter right before it because it increases the chances of your array getting respected and you not getting stopped out. But I will say, since this is the lunch macro and it tends to accumulate around this area, about 30 minutes before the macro is pretty decent, or before 11:30 is pretty decent. But for the 9:30 to what's the word? 9:30 to 10, or the first 30 minutes rule that I came up with for the array scavenging, which is how I normally do it, because price normally expands during that time. I would say entering around 9:50, like that macro, or 9:45, right before 10 o'clock, and it starts expanding. I'll say that's a good ratio, like 15 minutes before 10 o'clock, before the final or the first 30 minutes actually ends. So we've officially done what? Array selection through using the PD array matrix by selecting stronger arrays, and we array scavenged, which is looking for an array that has a pretty decent stop loss that is right before a time that price will expand. Real, real simple, right? Very, very easy. Now, I don't think I need to go over any more examples. Hopefully not. I hope, because I think I explained this well enough to where you can now go into your charts and apply it to different scenarios. I think we should end it here, right? Do you agree? Yeah, you think you learned it? Okay, okay, I think so too. You're smart enough. You're very, very smart. Smart money trader. Get it? Let's not talk about the pun. Anyway, this is the end of array scavenging and array selection. I hope I taught you this well, and this will help you minimize your risk and select your entries better. And I'll see you in the next one. Good luck and good trading.